We're at Canal Place. We're about to release another new beer, but this time, of all things, we picked a lager. You guys are what? No coffee that, pastry this, or double New England that? No, just a simple lager. But sometimes the simplest things can be the most rewarding, complex. You just gotta understand it. So this was a collaboration between us and Heinen's. Ed Tompkins from Heinen's approached us a couple months ago, and they were like, Ron, we want you to be the June Brewery of the Month. So Ed stopped down, also Charlie and Dave from Premium Beverage stopped down. And they're like, what do we want to do? I walked in assuming it's going to be for fall, for the festival, and they're going to want some big pastry stout or whatnot. But no, Ed's like, let's move it up to June. I've got an open slot, but it's summer. I like lagers. Let's do a lager or a Pilsner. And he was kind of coming from the Pilsner angle. And I looked at the water chemistry of Pilsners, and Akron didn't really match it well. So I didn't want to do any disservice to that style. So we've been doing the R.Shea Light for a while. That's a lager. We've gotten really good with the profile. So we decided to go for an India Pale Lager. So Ed likes the West Coast. They carry it in their store. That uses all Citra hops, and Citra is a great hop to work with among IPAs or New England's. So we decided, hey, why don't we take all the West Coast hops of the West Coast IPA and make an India Pale Lager with that? So we did exactly that. So for this, we changed 3 fundamental things with the West Coast. We switched from an ale to a lager yeast. For those of you who don't know beer science that much, an ale yeast is a yeast that hangs out at the top of the fermenter in the warm temperatures of about 70 degrees, and they'll ferment. As opposed to lager yeast, which are at the bottom of the fermenter, they want lower temperatures, so we ferment those anywhere from the mid-40s to the low 60s. And that produces a cleaner finish, less esters than an ale or a wheat yeast. So you can think of lager yeasts they're at the bottom of your fermenter where the cone is. They're kicked back in their Adirondack chairs, probably having a beer while they make beer. And they're having their sunglasses on, they're just chilling, doing a little bit of work slowly, but it's the best work you can ever do. So they make a kind of a refined beer that's super smooth and no extra fermentation flavors, super clean beer. So we thought that would be great to highlight the Citra hops, which is a great hop. We also took the ABV down from a 6% on the West Coast to 5%, so we just want this to be an easy drinking beer in the summer. And we also added some special malts like Munich 10 and some aromatic, just to give it a little bit of complexity. And that's the 3 things that we did to make this city lager different from the West Coast. Now, you're probably asking, how did the name come about, City Lager? Well, we were kind of under the gun, and we were just spitballing some ideas. Ed really wanted to highlight Akron as the city. And we've had a couple of shirts and used a few things with the Akron skyline in the back. But we kind of wanted to still feature the West Coast style label because they're going to sell them side by side. And hopefully you get them both and you can compare and contrast the difference. So we want it to be visually different, but the same, which is kind of tough to do. So what we did is we kept the name simple, City Lager, and we put Akron in the skyline, and to know it's Akron, you got a little bit of blimp right there, a little blimp, easy to miss. So that's how that evolved, and let's go to the process. The process of lagers, the way we make lagers, is a little bit different than ales. Ales, we make the wort, the sugary liquid, add the yeast, put the fermenter to 68, 70 degrees, and let it go till all the sugar's gone and you got all the alcohol. For lagers, what we do is we put them under a temperature ramp. So the first day we'll pitch the yeast, and we'll start it at 53 degrees. And by the end of day 7, we let it go to 62 degrees. Then we just let it stay. It's going to do its diacetyl rest. Lagers have a tendency to produce diacetyl, which is a byproduct, and that is kind of butterscotchy. It's usually not desirable in beers, and so you let it sit at a higher temperature into a diacetyl rest for the yeast to clean up its byproducts. Then the diacetyl is gone, it's super clean, and then once you don't detect any of that diacetyl, you crash it to 40 degrees and let everything sit and get clear and mellow out and blend. So that is the process as opposed to ales. So without any further ado, see, I said this was going to be an easy beer review because it's an easy drinking beer, but it's getting complicated. Nothing wrong with that. So let's check it out. First, I did bring 2 glasses that I would like to highlight. Lagers, a lot of people drink the classic American lagers straight out of the can. I like to drink lagers either out of like a pint glass or a nonic glass, or this glass we use for blonde ales and shandies. So it's kind of an elegant glass. Even the nonic's a little elegant. They've got some curves to them. It kind of highlights the delicacy of the lager style. And right before the review, usually if it's a stout or a double New England, I'll let these sit out for 10 minutes to let them warm up to about 50 degrees, where those aromas really pop. This, I just brought it right out the cooler, cold. You want this lager to be super cold. Now, what glass is he gonna choose? I don't know. Let's go with the curvy glass. Nice gold color, perfect. You got the Citra hops off the nose, and it's just Citra. Super clean, a little bit fruity from the hops. The aromatic malt and a little bit of Munich tech for just a little bit deeper color than a lighter version like our R.Shea Light. If you put our R.Shea Light side by side, you'll definitely see a color difference. So those just adds a little bit of body to the beer. It's not such a dry finisher. Kind of balances those hops out. Man, that's delicious. The colder the better. So, food pairings. Lighter meats, chicken, salmon, hot dogs, because the greatest American lagers at baseball stadiums are served with hot dogs. Personally, I like to pair lagers with spicy foods. We love to go to Loggerheads. It's a great restaurant in Medina. Smoked meats are killer, plus they're a craft brewery. They have a lot on tap. But honestly, when I go to Loggerheads and I have all these awesome smoked meats, some of them spicy, some of them not smoky, I want something simple to drink to be a palate cleanser. I personally don't want to drink a double New England IPA or a stout or something with flavor that's going to, fight with the smokiness and the meats and the barbecue sauce that I like. Especially if it's a little bit of heat, you just want to quench your thirst. It's hard to quench with a double New England or a stout, so I like to pair with spicy foods. And cheese pairings, you want mild cheeses, nothing dominant, cheddar or Havarti. And that is the end of this review. We didn't make a lot of this, so we're gonna have it on tap and in 4 packs this Friday. And it'll probably last a couple of weeks, and then it's gonna be gone. It's not gonna be at Heinen's too long. They only got 1 skid, and